Good evening and welcome to a little Forex Sunday review. 25th of November, only a month till Christmas. So first things first, as you can see, the old demo account's taken a bit of a battering. It's a couple of things really. So in September, I was down 5.5%. And that was me just sort of finding my feet, really trying to figure out what way I was going to go, what strategies I was going to use. October, stuck to the strategy, and that was okay. That was good. I had a little 1.78%. Still refining things. November is down because of a few reasons, mainly a couple of silly trades that I shouldn't have taken, over leveraged, oversized, and that's obviously had a big impact, but also picking the right trades more importantly, and using or starting to use the correct risk size. So just a quick overview, warts and all. These two positions here, they are now closed. There was a swing trade that I had on, so I think that closed for about 80 pips. I'll go over that in a moment. And then one of the scalping positions, again, I closed that just because I didn't want any positions open over the weekend, as you can never really tell what is going to happen with the market when it opens. So throughout September and October and half of November, I was only trading the pound against the US dollar. I've now switched pairs, mainly because of volatility and mainly because of the risk factor that I'm using. So I've gone with still two major pairs, Euro USD and the USD Yen, just because they move quite smoothly, as it were, not any sudden volatile moves. And you know, I've had good success with these pairs in the past with some of the strategies that I've been using, so I know it works. I know they will provide me with the opportunities that I need. But I will start doing these videos again on a Sunday just to track the progress, and at least then I can look back and see how the week panned out. So first things first, just going to have a quick look at the weekly overview on each pair. So starting with Euro USD, and again, it's only going to be the two pairs, Euro USD, USD Yen. That's about as exotic as it gets. So last week we did see a little spike up and then a pull back down into this area. Now, for me, with the EMAs on the weekly, especially still being very fanned out, I think I will still be looking for potential short opportunities. Looking at the daily, again, even on the daily, you can see there's 21 EMA. It's still holding strong. Obviously, we had a very bullish engulfing close. So on to the 4 hour. I'll just go over the last swing trade that I had last week, which was on the Friday. So the longer term swing that I had compared to what I've been using recently, which is a scalping strategy using the 1 hour and the 5 minute chart. On here we did have price come back up into the 618, and then price did go on to hit my target, which was the 127 fib extension, which if we draw this in, we'll just whack this over here, you know, we can see pretty much hit that to the nose there. Let's just check these coordinates. So one of the swing strategies that I'm using is really looking for a pullback into the 618, and then my projected target will always be the 127. In the past, I have tried to do the 1.618, but more often than not, it doesn't reach there. So we've had that move. So realistically, there's a potential to pull back up into the 8 EMA, which would bring us back up into this structure before going short again on a swing type trade. I mean, just going from this high to this low here, the 618 brings us back up there. So I'll wait and see. I mean, that was the move that I had. And again, if we go from the bottom, you know, that overall move is about 90 pips, 94 pips. That was a good little trade. What I tend to look for, and we'll go over this now, is I'm looking for price to start falling away from the EMAs. So ideally, I will be waiting for price to start to cross over into the trend, but I want to see price moving. So, you know, you can see here after this candle, this is a sort of area here I would have been looking for a trade, and then it would have been around here that was the second potential trade. So I look for the price to start waiting for the EMAs to fan out, and price does need to be below the 8 EMA. That's where I failed in the past. I was just trying to get it earlier rather than waiting. Price to fall away, and when it does, I'm going to look to drop down to the 5-minute chart. So just going back to the first opportunity. So when I've seen the price falling away, what I'm waiting for is this sort of action here. So I'm waiting for price to be pushing away, and then I'm waiting for a pullback into, and it has to pull into the 8 EMA. And then it is a simple case of, once that's happened, and what this candle is, what we call the trigger candle, I count 5 candles back, which would give me this lowest. This is the lowest point of those 5 candles, and then I'm going 3 pips below for my entry. So on this example, we'd be looking at 410, and then the entry would be 3 pips above this trigger candle. So that'd be a 15 pip stop. So I know there's going to be 2 positions, one at 15 pips and one at 30. So we've got 15 pips, which would have taken us down to here. And then once that happens, you move your stop on the second position to break even. So in this example, price would have pulled back up and stopped me out. So on that one, you would have only got 1 trade. I think there would have been a further opportunity here, which if we have a quick little look, what would have happened? So price would have pulled up and then dropped. So I do think I probably would have missed that potential trade just because we're waiting for the candle to close. So price would have been pushing up, but because it's broken, I don't know. Let's have a little look and see if that would have been a valid trade. So let's just cancel that. And I'm sorry if there's waffle and hesitation, but this is the fun that is trading. So it's not going to be perfect, but it's just trying to demonstrate that there's not always opportunities to be how you got to wait and sit in your hands, which is the challenge that I've faced for many years. Okay, so that candle, you probably could have got away with that just because you would have waited, seen it closed, and then this next candle's moving up, so that would have given you an opportunity to get in. So the high would have been above here, 3 pips. So again, we'll call that 8 pips, so 8, so that'll be 11, so total at 22. And on this example, you would have hit both targets. So when price gone down, not for 1 pip, we want 11. Price would have hit target for target 1 at 11 pips. Once that's happened, stop would have been moved to break even, and then price did go down and hit target 2. Now, with these types of setups, I'm always looking to have a total risk on both positions of no more than half of 1%. So I use the position sizes. I think I worked it out that between 10 and 13 pips, I can have a 0.03 lot size, and then 14 to 18 pips, I can have a 0.02 lot size, and then anything over 18 pips, so between 18 to, I wouldn't really want to go any more than 25 pips per trade. That'd be a 0.01 lot, and that just means that overall, the loss on a £1,000 demo account is around £5. The gain, you're looking for in and around you know, £7 or £8. So on this example is when the price did just start to drop off the face of the earth. We'd have to wait, and I did wait for this one to pull back up. So you can see here, this is one of the trades I did take. Entry would have been 3 pips below this candle here. So we've got that at 6.2, and stops would have went 3 pips above this candle here. And if I can just get this sorted out, 6.2, and then it was 3 pips above this. So again, we're looking at 18, so that's 21 pips. So again, that would have been a 0.01 position size. So target 1s were hit, and I think target 2s were very close, but again, we were approaching the it was getting late on Friday, and I just didn't want this trade to roll over, so I closed the trade at a profit, just for safety's sake, really. So it still was going down, but I just took the decision to minimise risk, which is what I've been focusing more on now, minimising risk, and just close the position so I can start fresh again on Monday, and we'll see what happens. So for the time being, we'll see what the open does, but realistically, I'm looking for some lower price action, and some lower bearish sort of continuation trades. So it wouldn't surprise me to see a bit more of a pullback on the 4 hour, just because of the momentum we've had, back up into maybe this sort of level around the 13,700s. We'll just put a quick line, 13,700s, and that'll certainly be a good area for another swing trade as well, just to sort of see what potential trades set up. But if you're an Elliott wave trader, you could have had your 1, 1, 2, 3, 1. So similar down here, we've had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, or I guess you'd be looking more at, and again, I apologise for the waffle, but this is, you know, this is what we do. We hypothesize. So we could have called it 1, 2, 3, 4. Actually, no, that'd be 5 there. I think it'd be something more like this, really. So you got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 1. You know, I don't know. I'm just waffling. But these are things I consider. But again, for me, it was more a case that we had a clear sort of flag formation happening. So we had the trend going down, and we were waiting for this break here. So you can see that as soon as that candle broke, that was a very good sign that, you know, we're creating, look at these wicks, lower highs, lower highs, lower highs, lower highs. We didn't actually have a close above, so we have got this sort of area here where price never closed above. So that was sort of the reason. You can see this sort of triangle flag formation. So lower trades on the Euro USD after all that waffle. USD yen, let's have a quick look. So on the weekly, almost a sort of reversal of what we've just looked at there, but we are coming up into a very interesting area on the weekly. So we've got this area around the sort of 14, the 114 flat, really. So could this be something, again, like we'll retest it this week to then break higher? Potential. But we are creating a lot of higher lows on the weekly, and you know, it is really sort of giving that sort of sign that there's this sort of triangle formation going on. So what we've got, really, we've got this sort of trend line here, but there's a secondary trend line sort of, you know, going up here where we've got these closes bouncing in and around. So it's sort of a, I wouldn't be surprised to see another retest of this level, but then it could break. And And again, what we've had on the daily, from the most recent low here, you know, we've had a 618 retracement, pinged back down, popped back up. And then I do believe this little move here, which will be more apparent on the lower time frame, you know, under a 618 there. But on the bigger move, for a swing trade, I'll be looking for potential longs to the 127. So the 1500, so yeah, 100 sort of 100 pips from this big support. But again, you can see we've got this level does line up over here. So let's just quickly whack in a line at the 1500. So I'll be looking for sort of bullish signs for a swing trade, and then on a day trading time frame, looking at the scalping again. So, and again, you can see the EMAs are starting to cross. So it's going to be interesting. I will need to see these EMAs really cross first before I enter on a scalping position. But for a swing trade position at the moment, what could happen? How could I get involved with this? So price has just pulled back up into this structure level here. So let's draw this in. We'll make this a little bit thicker. So we're right now at this sort of structure level here. Potentially could see a pullback again, and just using where a 618 is, that would give us again another sort of retest of these lows. If I see a higher high, higher close above this area, then I would look to get long, just because if we're creating higher highs, higher lows, really it'd be this high here, isn't it? Let's be honest. If we can break this level, then I'd look for a good, solid entry. On a risk perspective, what could happen? I mean, realistically, even if price pulled up, popped back down here, let's just go here. We'll see what risk we've got. Let's just cancel that on the daily, just to get a better view of what we've got. Okay, it's a 4 hour. I know it's a bit of a ramshackle of a of a video. So from current levels up to 1500, just 15 flat. So that's a 200 pip move from where we are currently. So, you know, if we were to have the stop, say, 5 pips below this low here, just to give a bit of breathing room, that would give us a 35 pip stop. 35, not 45. And that's if we were to enter at market now. So a 35 pip stop, I could take I think a 0.03 on USD yen, because it's a lower, per pip it's lower. But that would be something, I mean, it's a good risk reward. We're looking at Gordon Bennett. What's that? 1 to 7, was it saying there? Or 1 to 5? Probably 7, to be honest. What's 200 divided by, well, either way, I like the odds of that as a longer term swing position. So that's something to consider for myself. And this is the other change I'm starting to make, is I need, as good as the scalping strategy is, if I can find these swing trade opportunities, that's where I need to maximize as well. So yes, it's been a bit waffly, but it's not rehearsed. This is me just coming to the charts and really just going through what I see, what I think potentially could happen. You may find it boring, you may find some benefit from it. Either way, this is more for my benefit than anyone, because I need to start looking at these charts and really hold myself more accountable. I've been keeping a trade journal, which has been very good. and that's been helping to keep me on track. So if you don't do that, I would highly recommend it because it does help. So we're looking for long positions on USD yen, and we're looking for potential short positions on the Euro USD. We will come back next week and we will see certainly where the account is sitting. So I mean, there's probably about 2% there, so that might really start the week at like minus 18%. So if we just say minus 18%, as long as we're above minus 18% by next Sunday, then that would have been a good week. For the time being, I hope you enjoyed this video. If not, well, you've stuck it out, and I'll do another one next week, and we'll see what positions may present themselves.